So our next contributors, this is going to be online, presumably. Erik Boucher from CNIL. Oh, voilà. Excusez-moi, you're here. No?
They're up on the screen now.
Oh, okay. Bonjour. We can't hear you. Voilà.
Okay.
C'est bon.
C'est bon?
Yeah.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to participate to this conference. In this time frame that has been given to us, we're going to give a short overview of the data protection authority on the age verification process. I mean, of course, it will be the French, the view of the French Data Protection Authority, the CNIL. So, who we are. For the presentation, Erik Boucher, the speaker, will present the French DPA view on the age verification process. He is an information technology expert at the CNIL who has been involved in many positions of this authority on this specific topic. For my part, I will present the work of the CNIL on this matter and show you demos on just one demo on one of our experiments. I'm a research engineer of the CNIL Digital Innovation Lab. Who we are? So we are the CNIL. So I hope that you know. I mean, from the net. So we are the regulator, the French regulator of personal data since 1978. We are an independent administrative authorities, and we are the member of the EDPB. So our main mission is to protect personal data, to support innovation, and to preserve individual freedoms. So the link is a department of the CNIL. It stands for the CNIL Digital Innovation Lab. It conducts reflection and sharing on emerging trends and digital on the use of digital technology and data, and it also conducts experimentation and prototyping project for tools, services, or concept based on data. So to give more overview about the link, we offer different perspective by highlighting the CNIL's innovation activities, which beyond its regulatory action and participate and characterize debates on issues linking ethics, freedoms, data, and digital use. After this short presentation, I'm now handing over to Erik for giving more an in-depth explanation of the French DPA view on the age verification systems. Erik?
Thank you, Jérôme. Thank you, Jérôme. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we've been dealing with the question of age verification in France since 2020, and of course before, but in 2020, a new French legislation was issued on age verification for access to pornographic websites. And this legislation brings new obligations for website editors to implement better controls than just a checkbox. And so CNIL looked at this new decree and issued its own recommendations on the way this could be done in practice. And so CNIL stated that no direct identity data collection should be done from the websites by itself, and that the website should not rely on biometric identification, and neither on having access to a website browsing history. So CNIL would rather have a trusted third party in the loop in order to process with age verification. So CNIL has been working on age verification processes since then and conducting different studies and interviews with the ecosystem. And I can tell you that the recommendation from 2021 will be updated very soon. So stay tuned about that. And CNIL has been studying the different types of solutions available on the market with different angles. First, of course, accuracy and reliability, but also, which is commonly opposed, I would say, privacy intrusiveness, because the more data you collect, the more accurate you are, but then you deal with much GDPR-related data. And also, from a more global perspective on civil liberties, CNIL also considers the different risks associated with deploying edge verification systems. So our conclusion at the moment is that there are no real practical solutions that can match all the necessary requirements about security, privacy protection, etc. But we may offer some I would say some leads on solutions that Jérôme will show you a bit later. But before, let me say that we identify different kind of risks for individuals and related to the use of their data for the different solutions that are already on the market. For example, using ID documents needs, of course, transmitting very sensitive official data. That's a problem because CNIL is also, I would say, sensitive to the question of anonymity, online anonymity or pseudonymity, because of freedom of speech and freedom of use of information. So linking age verification to official ID may be a problem if it is not clearly separated, I would say, in terms of data storage, but we'll come to that a bit later. Also, ID documents can be well, useless if there is no real biometric identification, just to be sure that the person who scans the ID is the real person in front of the computer. But then this would need the use of biometric technology, and CNIL is always, I would say, cautious about use of biometrics, which are not deemed proportional for, I would say, day-to-day use. Another solution is about, no, please, Jérôme, just
Sorry.
before, thank you. Another solution is about credit card payment. But as you said earlier, it can be bypassed by just borrowing a card, and also just remember that youngsters in France, for example, from 20 years old, 12 years old, sorry, can have their own credit card. So this would not be very efficient. And also we identified the larger risk of phishing attacks, because if young people are used to using a credit card for accessing online websites, they could be misdirected to rogue websites that would reuse their credit card data for fraud. Next, thank you. Also about different inference system, as we call them, that is, for example, using browsing history. Browsing history, CNIL considers that it is an intrusion on privacy and not proportional with age verification. Also, there are other kind of systems that maybe will have the user do some maths or read some text or else, but that can also be globally leads to exclusion of different people. And also, of course, those tests may be bypassed by leaving answers online. In real life solutions, such as access code cards, are interesting, but in our view, they should not be restricted, I would say, to one particular use, because that would lead to stigmatization. If you buy the card only for access to porn sites, for example, the people selling you the card will know what you will be doing with it. So those solutions can be useful if there are broader use, for example, for access to any website restricted to age, alcohol, etc., etc. That would be more acceptable. And last, the third-party database is really interesting, since you are able to separate use and identification, but not completely, because there are maybe still some linkability risk. And also the third party may know what you are at what time and for what website you are using the token maybe it has issued. So that's a problem, because in the end the third party may learn about your online activities, for example revealing intimate information and supposed sexual orientation. So the third party is interesting, but it has to be dealt with in terms of privacy, and we are coming to that on the next slides. The global idea is to integrate privacy by design. That is when you are specification in the specification of the system. Because first, you have to remember that age assurance is not only about accuracy, because age assurance generally uses very sensitive, very personal data that may affect security and privacy of the individuals. Also, I would say that for any information system, fundamental security and privacy controls must be in place. I would say that is true for any information system. And because also the problem of accuracy and also of confidence is not only for businesses, it is also necessary for individuals. Trust is a very important aspect in any system, because businesses must be sure that the system works in order for them to comply for the regulations requirements, but also individuals must know if they can trust the different systems that will collect their data in terms of privacy and security. So privacy by design, security by design, and by default approaches can be very useful in terms of data minimization, in terms of proportionality of the purposes. Also, of course, it will be helpful for robustness and simplicity of use. And last, standardization will be very important, because, as was said earlier, we cannot have too many systems, or at least they should be interoperable. And trusted third party should be able to communicate between themselves. So standardization is really, really important there. And last, alongside those, I would say, global and fundamental security and privacy principles, there are also key issues specific to age verification. And one is on linkability, I would say, between identity, real identity, and online activities. And so we have to design a way that, for example, the different tokens that are exchanged are sufficiently disconnected from the real identity of the person and online activity. So I would say the trust party will know who you are, but will not know what you are doing with the token, for example. And also the website will know that you have a valid token, but may not even know what documents or what data you have provided in order to get this token. So those principles were looked after in proof of concept that Jérôme will show you now.
Thank you, Erik. So on this slide, I'm going to show you some experiments that we have done at the Link team in order to test how privacy could be integrated into any verification process that could be used for websites. And for that, we relies on the third parties and storage proofs. I mean, the general idea was how to verify the age of the user without putting in place a massive process able to track sensitive browsing of all internet users. To do the experiments, we collaborate with a researcher of Polytechnic School. I mean, a well-known researcher in the cryptographic team, and we address this issue in order to find the state of the art of cryptography, which can limit the re-identification of user in the age verification process. And in fact, this kind of mechanism was well known in cryptography. I mean, the zero knowledge proof system is well known to achieve this requirement in cryptography. It has been made for that, actually. So in short, zero knowledge proof is a method by which one of the party, which is called the prover, can prove to another party, the verifier, that a given statement is true, while the prover avoids conveying any additional information apart from the fact that the statement is indeed true. So by relying on trusted third parties and zero knowledge proof, we achieve to prove that obtaining a reliable and secure process to verify age of user while maintaining its identity secret was possible. So Hayes demonstration of the required step on our demos. So first, a person wish to consult an online services for which access is subject to an age limit. Before granting access, the service provides a document to be signed by a third party who knows the age of the person with a certain level of confidence. This document, of course, doesn't contain any information on the service that issued it. So the user itself will take this document and send it to a third party that know him. I mean, know how that has put in place a process to verify its identity, and so it's know its identity, and its third parties also know the age of the person. So it could be, for instance, a bank, an energy supplier, or an internet provider. I mean, anything that the user has subscribed to, and given some information about him to fulfill his administrative requirements. Instance, so these first parties, this trusted third party, will authenticate the user. I mean, the way to authenticate will all rely on the first party website, and the user himself will upload the document to be signed. If the user matches the required age, then the document is returned with the matching signatures. Then the person upload the signed document to the services. The services verify the document match the provided one and that the signature is valid. The service doesn't know which source parties has been used for signing the document, but he knows that the person has the required age for consulting his content. And so now the person can access the services. I mean, he has provided the signed document as a proof, as this zero knowledge proof used in cryptography to say that I have the required age. And so now he can consult the content of the website. So technically speaking, the protocol itself, which has been used in this demo, require 3 separate entities for implementation. So the website, I mean the services that the user wants to visit, and that require the age verification process. So its requirement is to know that the person is over a certain age. Now, it doesn't require to know the real identity of the person or the certified party it will use to grant the access. Then on the right, you have the certified party. It could be, as I said before, it could be an organism that know a priori or expects the age of the user with a certain level of confidence. So it could be a bank, an electricity, or it could be also an other company that has put in place some, let's say, sensitive identification process to verify its age. Nonetheless, at the end, these companies has the knowledge of the real identity of the person with a certain degree of confidence. For that, it doesn't require to be aware of the purpose for which the proof will be used. And then at the bottom of the schema, you have the certifying authority, which is trusted by the services and used by the certified third parties for issuing a valid protocol age proof. So the certifying authority will provide to the certified third party the necessary cryptographic material for signing this document. In case of detected third-party abuse, it's published to the revocation list. And so the certifying authorities also deliver to the services specification, protocol description formats for implementing the age verification system. It's also put at disposal a public list of revoked key. So to explain a little bit more, I mean, privacy of the user relies on a strict isolation between the services to be visited and the certified third party. And this isolation is made possible through the certifying authority. As I said before, the signature doesn't give any information about the user or the identity of the third party. In the same way, the initial challenge, which is provided from services to the user, doesn't contain any information of the identity of the service used. This mechanism is well known in cryptography, and it's heavily relying on group signature. So the group signature means that the services will know that the signature is valid because it's inherited from something from the cryptographic material that has been provided by the certifying authorities, although it doesn't know which certified third parties has been used. And in this way, the way to multiplicate third parties will be another guarantee that there will be few correlation to re-identify the user among all certified third parties. And the revocation mechanism has been put in place. So the certifying authorities is the only entities in this schema who will know from which, for who the signature has been generated from. And it is required for the certifying authorities because you need to have a way to revocate any certified third parties which couldn't which doesn't enter in his requirement, which no longer enters in its requirements. So to just show you a quick demo on that. We have produced a quick demo on to show how to implement this kind of mechanism. So you have this free entity, which is represented by this tab. So the website that the user wants to visit. A site that will just gather all trusted first party. I mean, in real case application, that will be separate website and the certification authorities. First, to access to this website, you have to prove that you are above a certain age. So you have to download first the challenge. So the challenge itself will only contain information about the requirement and a random challenge which has been generated. So the user has to upload this challenge to any of the certified trust parties if the user is under If the user is under 16, then the trusted third party won't accept to sign this change. Although if he's 25 years old, it's above the 18 years old, which are required to the first party. So he will agree to generate the corresponding signature. So this corresponding signature will only be something which is not related to a long character list, which is not related to the user itself. It's only an information about that is certified to assess the age. So then the user can upload the signature again and being able to access to the first party. So I have put a validity of the token, and I have been too long in my explanation. So sorry for that. And then so you have the certification authority, which is able to create new trusted parties and also to revoke one, which means that if I'm revoking the trust party, the trust parties one, if I'm donating and signing it quickly, you will see that the website itself will know that the signature is not valid anymore. So it's quite a quick demo, because we already passed the time for us. So in conclusion, beyond its reliability, we believe that protecting privacy of users should be a central concern and should be integrated by design in any solution. So cryptography and trusted property could already help to tackle this problem, and without being prescriptive, the zero knowledge proof mechanism is a simple protocol that could lead to these achievements. So Erik and I will be happy to answer to all possible questions, and really sorry for that this presentation is quite long.
Can you hear me okay? Please nod.
Yeah.
Great. Just going back to the first half of your presentation, I think you found that existing offers for age verification were unsatisfactory. I just wondered why, if you use an independent certified third-party provider who runs a double-blind process, so the service that the user is trying to access is never given any information about the identity of the user, and the age verification provider doesn't retain any records of which service is making the inquiry about the age of the user, why that model wouldn't pass muster, be satisfactory when you were assessing it on data privacy and security, etc.
I would say we are the solution that you're talking about is quite similar to the ones that Jérôme showed, but we are concerned about the risk of linkability, because it's not only not storing the data, but data for the tokens may be intercepted online or by rogue software. And so it's not only by the third parties not storing the data, for example, but it's also having a robust, secure exchange of data. And the zero knowledge proof cryptography is a very good way to ensure that, because by design, the token doesn't contain data that can be linked to the online activity or to the official identity of the user.
And what we wanted to put in place in a cryptographic view is a way to be able to identify the sender and the receiver, and by using this certification mechanism, we are sure that the sender and the receiver match the overall process. I mean, it has been audited, and the process to verify the age of the user is trusted by the website. And I mean, by using only double anonymization, you won't be able to really identify to which third party you will send the user itself. So it's I mean, double anonymization is a requirement. Maybe it's we can go a little bit further to secure at the most the overall process.
Hi there. Just a follow-up question on the sort of proof of concept method that you walked us through. When you consider things like user experience, friction, speed of verification, do you think it's realistic for both adult merchants and end users to embrace that sort of methodology and that sort of process? And do you think there might be a risk or sort of fueling the black market if that's not the case?
Erik, should I start?
Go on, but I'm not sure I completely understand your question. For example, on the proof of concept shows every step by step, but some steps can be automated in order to be more seamless for users. But also about the black market, I didn't understand your question, sorry.
Well, I guess my, compared to some of the more established and mature methods that are offered in other sectors and in other countries, there could be a view that going through a process like that, particularly in the context of someone trying to visit a pornography website, could be over arduous, and the likelihood of end users being willing participants I would say would be quite low, versus the other established methods that are, for example, part of the PAS 1296 accreditation in the UK. But I'm just asking for your view on whether you think it's a method that is sort of a level of friction and offers a user experience that would be warmly embraced, or whether there's a risk that it could alienate end users and they might seek alternative options.
Also, just to jump in on that, is there who signed the documents to confirm that the person is over 18? Will they be legally obliged to tell the truth? What would be the penalty? And this was the black market point. What would be the penalty attaching to somebody who signed a document to say, yes, I know this person and I know they are over 18, when that is not true?
I mean, it's the overall process of the certification. I mean, if one trusted parties start to lies, it will be easily spotable by the authority of certification, you know, because all the signature which will come out from the certified third party will be traceable by the certifying authority itself. So the risk for the certified third parties is just to be revoked, and so to not be able to enter in this process again. And also, we are not prescriptive in the technology to be used, and maybe more other technology could be the solution. It's just that we just rely on the research on this kind of topic, and the goal was really to give the state of the art on this kind of process. And then on the demo itself, the fact that you have to download the document and then to send it to a certified third party is something that that creates a friction. Of course, it could be a desirable friction, but it could be the isolation could be achieved where I mean the isolation requirement could be achieved, but it's possible to just have this button that you can find in many websites to authenticate through third parties. It's something that is widely used and it's widely used. And it's with this solution, I mean, you can list all the certified third party that has been notified by the certifying authorities, and I mean, one of the most challenge for the website will be that it has to explain in a comprehensive way that this verification process will not lead to an identification on who is the user itself. So it will more be a challenge on communication to assure that the user will stay anonymous to this website, even though he's using a sensitive third party that he doesn't want to say to inform that he require this kind of services. You know.
Question, Tony?
Erik, CNIL, it's Tony Allen from the Age Check certification scheme here, when we've spoken previously. I just wanted to ask a quick question about whether CNIL have considered maybe instead of having a prescriptive solution put forward, using the powers under Article 42 of GDPR to have a certification process about how you secure compliance with the wide range of GDPR across multiple solutions, as opposed to going into actually prescribing solutions.
Thank you, Tony. Of course, we have this in mind, but I would say it's a bit early to communicate on this. But as I said, we will soon update our recommendations on the different tools and aspects of age verification. So that will be a first step towards more, I would say, global approach. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. That was très intéressant. And we're very, very grateful to you for giving us your time this afternoon. Au revoir.
Thank you very much.
Au revoir, merci.
Au revoir.